Desk, and Stephen Kent, Operations Director for Echelon Insights. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. I want to put up this Real Clear Politics average of the generic vote, the congressional vote, Democrat, Republican, over the past 6 months. And it has shifted significantly just in really the past month or so. In fact, every poll, Stephen, that we've seen has made in its own poll a major shift to Republicans, whether it's 2, 4, 6 points. It's R plus something. That signifies that there is a shift.
Absolutely, and every different polling shop approaches these polls with different methodologies. Online surveys tend to skew a little bit more in Democrats' favors than traditional phone surveys. Here at Echelon Insights, we have still come up as of October, the very end of last month, with D+2 for the generic congressional ballot. Now, you have to weight that against where we have been trending for several months. Just last month in September, we were looking at D+5. That is tightening and tightening as more people make up their mind as we enter the final days of the midterm. In addition to that, you also have to look at GOP versus Democrat enthusiasm. And the GOP, Republican voters, have maintained their edge for 12 months, with people being more enthusiastic and likely to vote when push comes to shove. And that matters.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, there's no doubt that there's been a shift in the generic ballot towards Republicans. I wouldn't characterize it as huge. And I would also say that part of it is because most pollsters started modeling their likely voter model. So there was a shift in the fall from showing the registered voter, which is a much broader universe, to the likely voter model as we get closer to the election. Frankly, I think that 2 years ago, it seemed like Democrats probably had a 2-year lease on the House just with the slim margin that they had and knowing the disadvantage of having the out-of-party power, the out-of-party having more energy behind it. But I think the one thing that I'm not ready to concede is that overturning Roe is not going to have an impact on this election. That was a seismic event for a lot of voters, and I don't think we will really know if it is influencing this election until we see who comes out to vote.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Increasing the percentage of women could really make a difference for Democrats in some races.
Yeah, Stephen, what about the early vote? You know, as you look at these numbers, I always say it's not good to read too much into early vote and how it breaks down, but you could look into how many people are doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And at Echelon Insights, we've predicted that we're going to see a total turnout this midterm year right around 125 million. And that is a new all-time high for midterm voting. But you shouldn't get too, granular on whether or not that means that we're seeing things blow towards the Democrats or for the Republicans. What we do know is that typically more ideological voters tend to get out and vote early. I think you're going to sort of see a lot of Democrats run up their numbers early, as they tend to, but then we're going to see people who maybe have not been activated in prior elections show up here in this final week. So probably not too good to overanalyze that number while we get to election day.
Chris, last thing, Mike brought us the suburban women vote and how it's kind of shifted in recent polls. Other polls have shown that Hispanics have made a bit of a shift from where they have, and it's not a monolithic group, but where they have traditionally voted, or at least suggest that they were going to vote. And those issues about the economy seem to be striking home, especially in some of those border states.
Yeah, I am seeing that also. Certainly not a groundswell change, but just Democratic's margins decreasing a little bit among Hispanic voters. But it's different state to state and different issues state to state. We have a couple key swing states that are border states, and then a couple in the upper Midwest. So very different dynamics in the different states, and Hispanic voters could certainly be determinative in a couple of them.
Right,
for sure.
And it could, 2-3 points makes a difference if on that margin for Democrats as they look at those numbers. Could be a long night, maybe a long couple.